I am always saying, glad to have met you, to somebody I'm not at all glad I met. If you want to stay alive, you have to say the stuff though. And I have one of those very loud, stupid laughs. I mean, if I ever sat behind myself in a movie or something, I'd probably lean over and tell myself to please shut up. These aren't probably the most iconic quotes in the entire book, but they're just things like this that make me like the main character so much. Hi everyone, my name is Marisol, and today I'm going to be doing a book review on The Catcher in the Rye by Jerome David or J.D. Salinger. So, this is a realistic fiction coming of age novel published in 1951, and it is something I consider an amazing read for anyone around the ages of 14 and above. And I'm saying 14 because when I first read this, I was 12 and I wasn't catching on to many of the things that were being said. So I'd recommend this for certainly a more mature audience. So this is a book that I've owned for about 2 years now, and I've always wanted to read it because it's really mysterious and it's something that caught my attention. There are no summaries inside, there's nothing aside from just the title and the book cover. And for some reason, no matter how many times I tried to start the book, I never quite finished it. I was always getting like 60 pages away from the ending, but I never found myself wanting to finish it. I don't know why. But I finally did, and oh my god, I this was too good. I loved it. To put it simply, I see this book as a journey of a scared teenager roaming the streets of Manhattan with probably a bit too much money at his disposition. And there's no real enemy in the story aside from probably the main character himself. And not an enemy in the type of like, I will take over New York and destroy it, but more like a threat for himself and his mental health, most assuredly. And in this book, you'll see a somewhat broken boy with a fear of growing up and the adult world, and a development in his relationship with his little sister. I want to say more about it, but I shouldn't because it's something that you need to figure out yourself. So the time period I'd say is more like 1940s, 1950s post World War II USA, set mostly around Manhattan or Pennsylvania. And there's a lot of characters in this book, like so many. Holden, our protagonist, meets and talks about so many difficult that it's difficult to keep track. But we're keeping it short, so don't worry. So first, obviously, is Holden Caulfield, our protagonist. He's 16 years old, he loves his red hunting hat, and he's a junior in high school. He comes from a wealthy family in Manhattan, and he keeps going from prep school to prep school because he keeps flunking his classes mostly. And something that I find really funny is that when I was making additional research about the book, I found out that the author, J.D. Salinger, was very much like Holden himself in the way that he was also coming from a wealthy family of cheesemakers. And he kept going from prep school to prep school, and he also kept showing a big interest in English since the start. And I just find it really funny how authors sometimes reflect themselves in the characters they create. But anyway, Holden is intelligent, super sensitive, really observant, and too much of an overthinker. This is probably one of the first things that you'll notice about him in the book. And he's also cynical, which can get to be a bit too much because we often see him focusing more on the negative things in life rather than the positive. But for some reason, he's so likable, and that's part of his character, and you learn to love him, incredibly so. And then we have Phoebe, Holden's little sister. She's 10, I believe, and although she's 6 years younger than her brother, she shows so much more maturity than him in multiple occasions. And of course, she's still a child, so her innocence is present, but she's also one of the few people who can actually get along with and understand Holden. And she's also like one of the few people that gives him a reality check once in a while. Like, it's something that he needs clearly, and she notices it. And she's insanely smart, and I can speak more about her without spoiling an important part of the book, so I won't. And same goes for Mr. Antolini, who is one of Holden's teachers. He's crucial. So if there's anything I've learned from this book is it's complicated. Growing up is complicated, and you come across questions you sometimes don't want the answer to. But having such a negative and bitter outlook on life all the time will literally get you nowhere. Sometimes maybe a mental facility. And sometimes you gotta accept things as they are, which doesn't sound too nice, really, but that's just the way things go. And would I recommend this book? Yes, definitely. It's quite literal, which makes it an easy book to understand, but sometimes an analysis may come in handy because I know that for me, in my experience when I was reading this book, there were many things that I wasn't catching up on. But when I was reading like an analysis, like chapters, I finally understood some things that were probably very important for the book. And it's a cult classic for a reason, okay? It's especially good for teenagers, I believe. But not all curiosity read it as well. And holding someone people can empathize with in many levels and contexts, which is probably what makes him one of the most iconic characters in American literature. And I know I could relate easily to many of his thoughts, mainly because his inner monologues are things that mostly everyone is afraid to speak aloud. And just don't make the mistake of not reading this book. It's amazing, and 10/10 would recommend. Amazing. Read it. Awesome. Thanks for watching.